All right, so I wanted to give you all an update on how the lavenders were doing out here. So it's been about 4 days. We've had a pretty severe thunderstorm with some pretty whipping winds, and it looks like everything is still doing all right. There are some that are kind of in the danger zone, but for the most part, they didn't die. You know, looks like we got some new growth coming out already. Yeah. See, so you can see that when we transplanted, we got some wilting, but it just quickly turned around and they're already pointing, you know, back up towards the sun. They are coming back, and I think they're gonna do just fine. Like I said, there are a few that aren't doing so well, but let's go look at the other rows. Yeah, so definitely see these, they're just looking nice and perky. Some new growth coming in already. I mean, it was pretty quick. I think they're just happy to get out of those little pots. They were in those pots for at least 6 months. And I'm just super happy that the tarp didn't blow off in that storm. And they didn't drown, and we got 3/4 of an inch of rain overnight in that thunderstorm. Just a few hours. So you can see that was, you can see the ground is still moist. That was 2 days ago. So we're still kind of wet on the ground. And yeah, and you can see there's this dye back here, but this is from when they were in the pot. Ever since I put them in the ground, we got new growth coming in. I'm just loving it. So what I need these guys to do is I need them to get going. I need to get some solid roots in the ground so that they're gonna survive the winter. They're gonna survive the snow and the freezing cold and make it through to next year. So that's my hopes, that's my plans. I will have to tell you, I thought it was gonna take up a lot more room than this. I mean, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. I prepared 3 additional rows, and I still have all that field left to go. And then all the way down over the hill on these rows, and yeah. But remember, I did buy 1,000, and you're looking at about only 300, 350. So we'll have to get some more next year, and as long as these survive and they do well, we'll have to get some more next year. So fingers crossed. Well, I got the rocks picked up from the rows today, and I tried to use the molly to level out the rows. And even though we got 3 inches of rain the last couple days, it's dried out enough to where it's just too hard to use a molly. So I'm gonna wait for another rain. But I cleaned out the rocks so I could get my mower down here and not have any problems. All by hand with a wheelbarrow walking down the rows. I got a whole tractor bucket full of hand-picked rocks. Oh yeah, fun, fun. But hopefully it's gonna pay off. Okay, so just wanted to do an update on the lavenders. There are many that are doing well, and then several that aren't doing so well, especially in this second row right here, but I think I got it figured out. It's a learning process. So my lavenders have been turning kind of gray and getting all wilty like this. And I finally figured out what it is. So this is a fungal disease, a fungal problem, and it's caused by slow draining soils and high humidity, which I have both of here in the Ozarks. But these lavenders should be able to tolerate it. I mean, obviously right next door we have this guy who's doing just fine, and then that guy who's not, 2 more, and then, you know, right there's more that are doing fine. So The problem is I've been replanting, pulling out these dead ones and replanting them. Well, this fungal disease gets in the soil, so you need to remove the soil and try to fix the problem. So I'm gonna let these sit in here. Well, I have a plan to replant some of these in another week or so. So everything that dies, I'm gonna replant, but I'm gonna try to take out a larger portion of soil and I'm gonna add some sand in there to help with drainage. So yeah, fungal problem. And I think I've been too cautious about watering, or too worried about watering. I've been keeping them moist a lot, and they typically don't need to be watered unless there's no rain within a 2-week period. So see, here we go. This is a little bit different, but it's just, I think this is, again, a fungal problem. And the fungal problem obviously starts in the roots, and the tips will be fine, but everything up to it is gonna be dying from that fungus problem. See, like here, it's all dead, and the last thing to die is gonna be that tip. Fungus, fungus, fungus. So treatment is pull it out, remove all the rotten roots, and plant it in good soil. I have very little faith that I would be able to save any of these, and they're really small, so they're just getting yanked and replaced. Here's another example. I don't know if this is a fungal problem or not, but this whole branch is gone, but a lot of the other plant is doing well, so we'll have to see. Okay, so here we are. It's like September 12th, and we're out here at the lavender field this morning. And my plan is to deal with these ones that I believe have the fungus problem. So I'm gonna, even though it looks like there's a little bit of life here, I'm just gonna go ahead and remove, there's about 20 of them. So that one. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull them out, take out a bunch of, or a scoop of dirt around there, and just leave the whole set empty for like a few days. Yeah, leave the whole set empty for a few days and see if I can't get rid of this fungus problem now. I'm fairly confident that removing it like that is not going to take care of the fungus problem, but or actually, I'm not confident that removing this soil is going to take care of the fungus problem. See, it's still, we haven't had rain for almost 10 days and it's still moist. Definitely moisture is a causing factor here. But I don't, other than removing all this tarp and removing a larger section of soil, I don't know what to do. So that's my plan, is to take out a scoop of dirt, let the hole sit open like that. Hopefully it dries out, get some sun in there, and then we'll plant again in a couple days. I'm running out of extras to use, so hopefully this works out. It's gonna be my last time replanting, and then it is what it is until next year. Hi, good morning everyone. So out here in the lavender field, considering watering the lavenders today. It's been probably a good 10 days and we're in the middle of a 3-day heat wave. You can see there's some moisture on some dew from the humidity down here. So we've got a plethora of plants out here, so of different scenarios. So we got this one, which is half dead, half alive. Then we've got the completely dead one. Here's a half dead, half alive. I've removed this one and I've removed that one for replanting. These got that, they got the root fungus and just kicked the bucket. And then you've got the totally opposite of the ones that are just thriving Like this one. This one is looking great. All right. Then I removed that one for replanting. A 50, half dead, half alive. And then one that's doing great. So you really just do have your, you know, another one doing great, dead. This one's just booming right here. This is a very good quality lavender with a weed growing in it that I'm gonna take out. So yeah, it's the issue is the adult lavenders, they can survive quite a while. They're pretty drought tolerant, right? But the little lavenders, the time between being dry and being wet is a lot more picky, especially on young plants. I put these in the ground less than a month ago. So I struggled to decide when to water and when not to water. So, but we've got about 5 more days before the next rain, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit them with a little bit of water and see how they do. Fingers crossed as always with this stuff. It's a learning experience. There's a 50%er, doing well, did, doing well, 50%. And he's making a comeback. He died off. And you can see the soil, it looks wet, right? You dig down a little bit though, and it's dry. So I don't know. The Ozarks can just be a difficult place to grow stuff. It's funny. I had a farmer come by the other day. He's like, "You mind if I ask what you're planting?" I said, "No, planting lavender." He said, "What's that?" So it doesn't seem to be a very common crop out here. Yeah, another 50%er. But it's coming back. So the fact that we got nice, good growth down here on the bottom is good. And there's one that's doing really well. Oh, I don't know. We'll see, folks. We'll see. Look at the growth in between the row right here. It's time to get that mower out. See if that works out. Goodness. Well, folks, I knew that I was gonna have to water these occasionally. Now, I didn't put irrigation in this field for several reasons. Cost, couldn't afford it. But more so than that, is this is a drought tolerant plant, lavender. Doesn't like a lot of moisture. I live in a humid climate where on average we get 3 to 4 inches of rain per month. Now, I'm not expecting the weather to be perfect. I knew there was going to be times of drought and long periods of no rain. And I have young plants which needs to be watered. So the only way to get water in all these plants is by hand. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the process. 1 bucket full of water, 1 watering utensil, and a lot of walking around and watering my plants. Just like that. Approximately, I don't know, 300 times. Something around that. All right, I want to do this with 2 hands, folks. Sorry, I'm not going to bore you with the watering process, but that. Well, ladies and gents, it's time to water the lavender. Again. Yep, it's a big bucket full of water. So it's probably been close to 15 days with no rain. And we've got another 8 to 10 days to go before there's any forecasted rain. pretty dry out there, so I'm hoping this is going to be my last water of the year. It is October 3rd, I believe. And we shouldn't have to water this lavender in the wintertime, so yeah, thinking this is going to be it. So here we are in the lavender field the day after we watered. And I just wanted to give you kind of a little bit of a progress update on these things, how they're doing. So I don't know if you can, the camera really does it justice, but you can see that this is much thicker. This is a really nice looking lavender. You know, it's definitely pushing 10-12 inches tall, and it's really thick. It's quite bushy. And so some of them are doing really well. And there's another tall one that's over a foot tall. And then you got things like this. If you remember, they started out very long, lengthy, but they're starting to really grow back in the center with new growth coming out. So the ones that survived are surviving. They're doing pretty well. Others just haven't quite turned the corner yet. So yeah. See this guy, just still really small. So you have this branch here, which was the original, which was kind of struggling, but then you've got brand new growth coming out down here, doing a lot better. Like I said, and I've always said, the challenge is going to be the upcoming winter coming up. So we'll see how they do. Gonna keep our fingers crossed. Hopefully.